history repeats itself. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this. What's been happening the last 2.5 years reminds me almost exactly to what happened at the end of 2009 all the way 2013. This is Laricy Live, and I'm your host, Matt Laricy, giving you unfiltered access to the world of real estate. We cover market trends, news, and give you the honest answers that will keep you ahead of the real estate game. So today's podcast, we are talking about how deal season is over. There is going to be no more tire kicking. The things have changed in the marketplace, and today we're going to read off some questions that's discussing what are we seeing these first couple weeks in the marketplace. So question number one is, what is the current state of Chicago's real estate market? It is hot. Spring starts January 3rd. I've been saying that for 6 months. Now it's happening. People are scratching their heads like, how did this happen? The market's predictable, guys. You just have to look for patterns in the marketplace, trends, human nature, etc., and you can kind of tell where the market is. And the market is hot. It's going to be hot from now pretty much till the end of May, beginning of June. This next slowdown is not going to happen probably until July 4th. So from now till then, strap in. Is demand increasing? Demand has probably increased tenfold since the first of the year. Everybody comes back from holiday, new year, new me, I want to buy. They forget that their rent's coming up, and then they got to go on the hunt to buy something, and things get insane. And multiple bid season begins. How did the market switch so fast from December to January? December, people are checked out. It's doom and gloom. The world's going to end. Everybody's blaming somebody else, and all of a sudden January hits, and it's the mentality of saying that it's new year, new me, and that's what happens. Real estate's a big mental game, and we thought the market would change drastically. I always say that within a 2-week period, it almost seems like a light just goes on, and the market completely changes. And people who've been looking for the last 3 months are left scratching their heads like, wow, why can't I get the same deal that I could have got at the end of December? And I say, well, listen, I told you this would happen, that the market would change. And they said, well, yeah, I kind of thought it would, but I didn't think it would happen this quick. And I was like, well, if you read my emails, I said it would happen this quick. So it's not a surprise this has happened, but now we're in this market. Now we're in a seller's market for the most part of the city, minus the heart of the city, which is still a buyer's market. Do rent cycles play into current market trends? Absolutely they do. Most people's leases come due end of March, April, May, first part of June. So people came back from holiday, they got an April 1st lease. Most people have to let their buildings know by 60 days if they're moving out, which means that's February 1st. So it's January 3rd. And then all of a sudden, the market takes off. And now here we are stuck towards the end of January, and people are like, holy shit, like the market's crazy. Inventory feels like Nordstrom Rack, and every single property I'm looking at has multiple bids on it. Now, of course, it's not everywhere in the city, guys. The heart of the city is still hardcore buyer's market, but it is starting to change. So we are seeing these, the market be a little bit hotter because we are tied to that rent cycle. And with rents being at an all-time high, it's pushing a lot of people into the market. Where's all the inventory? I mean, a lot of people, the average consumer thinks the best time to list is April and May. So like right now, most people think January. Why would I ever list in January? It's a terrible time to list. And then some idiot about 20 some odd years ago wrote the best time ever to list is the day after the Super Bowl. So you do have a whole other crop of sellers who think that's the best time. And we've encouraged everybody to try to get their properties on the market. And all of our clients who got the properties on the market, they've sold. Again, excluding our stuff in the high rises, but everything else is off the market. We're getting multiple bids on all that other stuff. Is it too early to see multiple bids? No. Multiple bid season is crazy. We're already seeing people, 7, 8 bids. There was one that had 50 some odd bids on it. It was a multi-unit. It was really underpriced. That's a very extreme. But, we're seeing on average 4 to 6 bids, people waiving mortgage contingencies as is, people getting deals accepted and somebody bidding over them and then losing out. I mean, you're starting to see the crazy shit happen, and that's what happens during the spring market. So we're there. This is going to be the new norm all the way until end of May, beginning of June. Now, if you have a high rise, or if you're in Gold Coast, River North, Streeterville, West Loop, South Loop, New East Side, or the Loop, you're not experiencing the same thing. You are seeing more traffic than you did at this time last year. It's just not as much demand as you're seeing on what I call the outskirts. Now, again, for you guys that have told me that the outskirts is a rude thing to say, I'm just using it as an easy way to dictate the markets rather than have to say Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Uptown, North Center, Wicker Park, Bucktown, Westtown, all this other stuff. So like smaller units, more outdoor space are definitely crushing it more. Can you still get deals on properties that have been on since last year? No, you can't. You can't make low bids. In fact, I had a client the other day. They're like, hey, this property's been on the market for like a year. Let's make a really low offer. I was like, listen, it's a different market. They're like, I don't care. I want to make it anyways. And guess what? It's sold, you know? And like, we weren't the ones to do it. I personally have a lot of listings that have been sitting for 6, 7, 8 months that have sold with multiple bids this year. I'd have to check, but I mean, we're in the third week of January while this is shot, and I've sold over 50 properties this year alone. And I told people this would happen, and I said that we're going to see a huge change. And most of the stuff that we've sold is inventory that we've had sitting around. You know, there's a lot of the inventory that we sold this week that you probably could have got for a good $20,000 to $50,000 cheaper if you would have made that offer in December. And I told this to everybody, and then it happens, and people are still scratching their heads. But I'm telling you, it's only going to get better from here. Are there still deals anywhere? Yes. Heart of the city. You want to buy something and actually negotiate, not where it's like highest and best. Gold Coast, River North, Streeterville, Old Town, New Side, Loop, South Loop. Any big building you get a deal on. If I was buying right now, I would buy in those areas because right now they're trending down. It makes no sense. The imbalance in the marketplace is stupid. And when there's an imbalance in the marketplace, and that's not natural, it's not going to last. Now, again, it's not as big of a buyer's market as it was at this time last year. I mean, we're hovering around 8 months of inventory in those areas. At this time last year, we were from 18 to 12 months of inventory in those areas. So it's getting better, but it's still a buyer's market. How is the confidence level in the marketplace? It's changing. You know, I think right now people are kind of caught flat-footed. A lot of buyers are kind of like, wait a second, I don't understand what's happening. Why is this so crazy? And a lot of sellers are even caught flat-footed. Like, holy shit, like we're selling first day. We get offers first day. And so I think like people are just figuring this out. By February, people are going to get in their grooves a little bit more and understand it. But the confidence is really, really coming back in most parts of markets, minus the downtown parts. How does the downtown market compare to the rest of the city? It's still sluggish. Still sluggish. We don't have as much confidence, but it is growing day by day. And we are seeing more and more showings come there. In fact, I looked at our showing levels on the heart of the downtown markets at this time, 3 weeks into the year, compared to 3 weeks of the year last year, and we were triple the amount of showings. Now, that doesn't mean we're triple the amount of contracts in that area, okay? I'm just saying that we're seeing more demand there, which will only naturally lead to more sales. Which properties are in the highest demand? Duplex downs, duplex ups with big outdoor space. Single-family homes are stupid, out of control demand. Like, single-family homes are like, I feel like I always skip over because I just feel like everybody just knows like they're like impossible right now. But minus that, it would then be townhouses, duplex downs, duplex ups, more outdoor space. What feedback are you getting from buyers right now? If you're looking in those areas, frustration. They feel like there's nothing on the market. They feel like it's Nordstrom Rack. Everything's kind of picked over. Like there's no really good finds out there. And when one comes on, like it's a feeding frenzy. So people are getting frustrated. So again, you know, if you don't really care where you live, you have to have that outdoor space. Move to the downtown market, and you'll get a scorching deal. How does this January compare to last January? Honestly, I don't really think it's that big of a difference. There was a huge amount of demand last January that I saw. I see it every single January, and I told people we would see this happen. But people forget because October, November, December is so slow that it just seems crazy that it would pick up that quickly. So now everybody's like, well, this must be the best January of all time. And I'm like, well, it's too early to tell. I mean, we're only 3 weeks in. I can't tell you what the stats are. I could tell you the demand seems about where it was last year. The amount of sales we've had seems about at this time last year. So it's going to be a phenomenal January. Will it be the best January ever? I don't know if I'm going to be caught up in the moment. It's possible it could be, but it is a very, very good January. How is showing traffic right now? It's insane. It's insane across the board. In fact, so I've looked at the first 2 Saturdays. I mean, the third Saturday is not in yet. But, you know, we have about 150 listings. And in probably December, every Saturday in December, we hovered around 6 to 12 showings every Saturday. The first Saturday back for January, we had 56 showings. The second week of January, we had over 70 showings. I think it was like 74, 75. So you look at, we hovered around 6 to 12, and right now we're having 50 to 70 showings on a Saturday. That's a big difference. So when we talk about how's demand and traffic right now, traffic's insane. What is the Laricy team seeing in open houses? You have 2 different markets. You have one where there's a line around the corner to get into a house if it's in the outskirts, the smaller buildings. If you're in a high rise, you might be getting anywhere from 1 to 4 people tops. So it's a big difference. It's literally like trying to get into a hot nightclub, open house, if it's a hot duplex down or something like that. If it's a high rise, you can stroll in whenever you want. The thing that mostly makes me mad is that we had some buyers, and that first weekend of January it was like, I don't know, I think it was like 0 degrees, and I'm in like a suit and tie and like a thin jacket, and they want us to wait outside. I mean, I walked right around everybody and walked in. I'm not going to freeze my ass off. People were very upset by it. My people did buy that place, by the way. But yeah, there's lines around the corner for open houses. What trends are you watching that could impact the market going forward? Mostly crime is a big one. Crime's affecting the heart of the city. I mean, a lot of people are, I have one of my own units on the market in River North, and a lot of the feedback I've personally gotten from people were like, hey, I don't know if I want to buy in River North. It's dangerous. People look at River North like Englewood right now. I mean, I think it's crazy that that's the mentality. But that's a trend I'm watching, because if that continues, the values in these areas will plummet. I don't think it will, but it's a trend to watch. The other trend is the FOMO of the interest rates. So with inflation being at a 42-year high, people are nervous with these interest rates going up. And I keep hearing people being like, holy shit, I'm going to pay 4% interest rates. Just so you guys know, average American interest rate is 7%. So average is 7%. So the fact that they got below 4% is crazy. If you would have told me 3 years ago that we would see interest rates below 4%, I would have put $2 million cash on the table and be willing to bet any single person on that. It's literally never happened before in history. So I'm a big statistic guy and a data guy and say, well, like statistically speaking, since America's been in existence, it hasn't gone below 4. So I'm going to take that bet. Well, I would have been wrong. You would have made a bunch of money. But the reality is that like these interest rates aren't natural. The country's going broke. Inflation's at a high. We can't keep these interest rates down, and people are having FOMO of getting in. So a lot of people think the interest rates are going to impact the marketplace, so it's a trend to watch. Personally, I don't think it's going to make a difference. It'll affect your affordability. You may not be able to buy as expensive places, but in the downtown markets we work, most people have money, so I don't think it's really going to have that big of an impact. When do you think Chicago will hit a peak inventory levels for the year? April. April will be the peak. And then May will be unbelievable. And then every single month after that, it's going to go down. So we'll peak then. Best tips for competitive in a multiple bid situation. Be the first person, to move on it. You don't have to be the last offer in. Make sure that your agent calls. I'll tell you guys right now, I've had 2 people make offers on my listings this year, and their offers went to spam. And they called, and we accepted the deal. And then, of course, legally, guys, I'm not breaking any laws. If anybody's out there to be like, well, I'm going to report this guy. I still told my client after we signed the other offer, like, hey, guys, another offer was in my spam box. Here it is. What would you like to do? Both of them were lower than what we accept. And they're like, yeah, it is what it is. Just tell the people that we want somewhere else. So when I called the other agents up and told them that and I didn't just email them, guys, kind of like a wimp. I called them up and I said, hey, we went with a different offer. And they said, I can't believe you didn't tell me there was another offer. And I said, well, I'm not a mind reader. Just for everybody out there, I'm going to tell everybody right now, I cannot read minds. I know it's crazy, but I have no idea when somebody's offer is going to hit my inbox. I don't check my spam probably more than once a day because I don't really give a shit what's in my junk folder. I'm just going to be honest. So if you don't even texting's a wimp move, but if you don't even text or call me to tell me you sent me an offer, I'm just supposed to mentally know that you have it. So when we talk about what do we do to be competitive in multiple bids, have your agent call. If I had 5 offers on one of my listings, and only one of the agents called. And when my client said, hey, which offer should we go with? I'm like, it seems like the person who actually picked up the phone and called would probably be the easier one to work with, okay? Now, maybe a lot of agents don't, think like this, and a lot of agents are newbies and don't know what they're doing, but the reality is that you need to make sure that you call. And then we did a whole multiple bid podcast about 6 months ago. I would suggest to watch that, but essentially you can waive your mortgage contingency, you can take it as is, you can write a letter, you can throw an escalation clause on there. But those are your ways you can start making a multiple bid. But I still think the biggest impact you can have is make sure that your agent actually negotiates. How can sellers take advantage of an already hot market? Be the first on. I would get on the market now. I think there's going to be a lot more inventory in the market by mid to end February. And I don't think it's going to be as crazy if people go on multiple bids, because you have to remember right now, there's about 3 months of buyers. Buyers who started looking in October, November, December have been looking constantly every single day, and there has been shit to hit the marketplace. So now when this new wave of inventory hits the market, they're jumping on it because they think it's going to be the last place to hit. But we're in peak inventory season in the sense that from now till the end of May, shit's just going to continue to roll in the marketplace. So if you're one of the first to hit the market, I'll probably get you more money today than I'm going to get you in April. What is the average market time right now? So it's impossible to tell you this because we're in the third week of January. So I can't tell you January stats. I have the fourth quarter stats. I could tell you that the near north side averaged around 142 days on the marketplace. I could tell you the average market time on most of the west sides was around like 21 days. And I could tell you the north side's average market time was 32 days. So that's average. It is drastically different. And when I looked at the stats, Wicker Park and Westtown performed the best last year for days on market, inventory levels, etc. And of course, the worst was the River North and Loop areas. But we're in January, so at the end of January, it'll be fun to see how much inventory levels have dropped and what average market time has dropped. It'll be drastic. And this is why one thing you have to know, guys, is you can't kind of be a prisoner of the moment and say, okay, like January stats are this, so now that's the new marketplace. Because the first 4 to 5 months are when the most contracts and closings happen. So like the last 4 months are so terrible that it brings down, and there's an average of that's how you play out what the year did. So just know that these first few months are going to be a little bit crazy, and then it's going to slow down from there. Why is the Chicago market so hot all of a sudden? Rent cycle. That's it. First-time buyers didn't really exist as much last year. And you got to remember, a lot of people were on these COVID deals, so they got these scorching deals on rentals, and now rental prices have gone up 5%. They're at a 5% high. Some people locked in an 18 to 24-month COVID deal where they got a 20% discount on the rent. So if you take the 20% discount and then you add a 5% high, that's a 25% swing. So a lot of these first-time buyers are like, holy shit, my rent's going up 25%. I have a FOMO of missing out on getting the interest rates, and it's actually cheaper for me to buy to rent. So all of a sudden, January 3rd hits and the market takes off. So again, this is something I've been preaching for about 6 months that we thought would happen. We thought the first-time buyer market would be crazy downtown because a lot of them in the last few years have either rented or gone to the suburbs, and that trend's going to change, and that's what we're seeing, and that's why it's hot. What's happening with all the downtown condos? They're picking up. I mean, it's still soft. I mean, people are still scared because of crime and because they think they're never going back to work, and people still don't think that they need public transportation or they don't want to be able to walk to restaurants and stuff, but that's going to change. It's not going to change today. I still believe that this year is going to be the year of the condo. So I think condo sales across the city are going to pick up. And I do think the heart of the city is going to have better sales. I think it's going to be more of a balanced to a semi-balanced marketplace. If you would have called me at this time last year to list something in River North or the Loop, I would have given you a 25% success rate that if you came on the market, your odds of selling would be 25%. Today, I'd probably give you about a 75% chance. I would almost never give you 100% success. I'd probably always hover around 90% because I'm conservative. But I think 75% at least gives you a shot. I think it gives you a pretty good shot that you could sell in today's market. Which type of properties will be the most competitive this year? Bigger space with more outdoor space. That's going to be the trend throughout the year. Although the rest of the markets are going to come back, that's still going to be the most competitive. And of course, single-family homes. I mean, again, I forget about single-family homes because I just assume everybody knows. Are properties selling for over ask price? Yeah, the right type of property is going to sell over ask price. The right type. Heart of the city? No. Heart of the city, you're going to negotiate. Rest of the market, most likely it's going to go toward like very close to asking or slightly over asking price. What are the main questions you're getting from buyers right now? When is more inventory going to come on the marketplace? That's the main thing people are asking me. When are we going to see more units? Is it going to remain this hot all year? That's why we're talking about this now. So when people ask me these questions, I'm just like, watch this video. Here you go. It's not going to remain this hot all year. July 4th, the market will change. So 7 months from now, you'll be kind of more in a balanced market. It'll be like, pretty decent from July and August. And then from September to December, it'll be a little bit more in favor of the buyer's market. We're back on a normal cycle. We thought this would happen. Here we go. Now, what we are going to see is we're going to see more inventory hit the market too. More people will come on the marketplace as we get closer to Super Bowl. And then after Super Bowl, it's just going to be like Hoover Dam broke and the water coming in. It's going to be inventory hitting the market. It's going to be consistently. It's going to come on. It's going to come off. It's come on, come off. That's how it's going to be. Are sellers less stressed in a hot market? Sure, in right parts of the city. If you're in River North or the Gold Coast, yeah, you're pretty stressed out. There's a lot of competition down there. It's literally like two totally different markets. You got a single family home in Lincoln Park, you're 0%. You're like negative stressed. Okay, you got a high rise condo that's $500,000 in the Loop, you're stressed. So when people tell me is this a good market, I'm like, what are you selling? What are you selling? Where are you selling? And what's their price point? And then I could tell you if you should be stressed out and your odds. Too many times brokers like, well, this is the greatest market ever. I'm awesome, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I could tell you how awesome I am too. And I could tell you how much I sell every single year, but that doesn't change the marketplace. I can't change the market. I can't also force people to want to live in the Loop. Okay. A perfect example. If you were selling a condo in the West Loop in 2014, 15, 16, 17, or 18, I would normally sell something under $750,000 before it hit the market with probably 30 bids. Today, that same exact unit will probably stay on the market for 60 to 70 days. Real estate's all about timing, guys. Right now, a lot of people in West Loop, they're tech guys. They all think they're never going back to work and that they're going to be living in Boise, Idaho for the rest of their lives, and we're all going to live in caves, and they're idiots. Sorry to say this, guys. You're going back to the office. It's going to happen. I will be right. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. It's going to happen. So when we talk about like what we're seeing and where things are going to go, you just have to know it depends on different markets. Are we seeing a lot of first-time buyers? Absolutely. We talked about that. We'll beat that to death. But yeah, first-time buyers are going to be the main driving force of the market this year. It's going to be a huge, huge marketplace due to the fact that rents are high and interest rates are going up and people are going to try getting in the market. A lot of people have been sitting on the fence. They're like, I don't know if I believe in cities. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. The media has been telling me that nobody's going to live downtown again. And now people are stopping to drink the Kool-Aid. They took their head out of the sand like, holy shit, like America is going to exist again. There's an oldest saying in the book. It's called history repeats itself. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this. What's been happening in the last 2.5 years reminds me almost exactly to what happened at the end of 2009 all the way to 2013. From the end of 9 to 2013, the media told everybody that nobody would ever own again in America. They said that America was a rental nation. We were a bit once. Americans are resilient, and we will never own again. So for almost 3.5 years, my main conversations with people were, yes, people will own in America again. Now, when I say that out loud, you might be watching and be like, nobody said that. That sounds so stupid. No, who would say that nobody would ever buy again? Google. Go look in 2011 papers. Literally, go back and look at the papers and watch what the media says. I'm not making this shit up. It's what the media told everybody, and everybody drank the Kool-Aid. And all of a sudden, in 2013 hit, and the media was like, oh my God, buying's back. America's back again. The American dream lives on, and blah, blah, blah. And ever since then, the American dream returned. Now, the reason I give this example is because today, the same conversation is that all the media is telling you is that nobody's ever going to live in a city again. And that's all they keep telling you. And everybody's been drinking this Kool-Aid. And I'm telling you, 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to play these podcasts. And I'm going to sit here and tell you, like, yes, people will live in cities again. Yes, people will be back at the office, but it's the main conversation I have with people. We will see who's right or wrong, but I will tell you right now, if we could do a 5-year bet, I will put a $5 million bet on the table against anybody willing to bet me that 5 years from now, 90% of people will be back in offices and cities will be booming. We'll see who's willing to take it, but I'm dead serious. I will bet that with anybody else out there. Is this January as you expected? We've talked about it. It's exactly as we expected. Where do you think the market is headed for the rest of Q1? It's going to be unbelievable. It'll be one for the record books. It's going to be a superbly hot market. The suburb market is super hot. A lot of people who are looking in the suburbs are coming back. A lot of people are cashing out on their suburb homes and buying downtown. The out-of-state buyers are coming back. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to happen. I've been saying this for months, but the international market is coming back. People in different countries are richer than God. And once their money comes here, it's really going to be gangbusters. That's all we got, guys. We're starting off a hot Q1. Strap in. Know that inventory will be coming, but it is going to be a hot seller's market for most parts of the city. Still a buyer's market for the heart of the city, but it's going to change. And for the sellers out there watching this, know that traffic will pick up down there. Thanks for listening to Laricy Live.